This week, everything on NXT changes, except only a few things on NXT change. We're past the draft, and we're going to talk about the July 20th episode of NXT, so stick with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Been a while since we heard that one,
The melodious strains of Hideo Itami's music.
Oh my.
Welcome everyone to the NXT After Show right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I am not Mark Bidonica. I am Bill Hanstock. We have so much.
If you were Mark Donica, it was a hell of a bachelor party, I'll tell you what.
Woo!
All them
No
tattoos
hair.
and no hair.
No hair. We got so much elbow room and leg room this week. It's amazing. I
Spread.
can't even reach you with the wingspan.
So far away.
Run to me, Hobo. I am Bill Hanstock. You can find me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. Thanks for joining us here on the AfterBuzz After Show for NXT. And with me, as always, is the Hobo.
Yes.
Hello, Hobo.
One half of tag team champions.
Hag team.
Hag team.
The Hag team.
Yes. We put on a little rouge and some wigs
Some old
and go
crowns.
out. Yes. Tag team. The Friendship Express.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at TrueHobo. And Jervis just put up a video of me bench pressing as much as a gorilla. So there's that.
That's a lot.
I'm kind of strong.
So you're
I don't know if you know that.
you're in Harambe class of
Yes.
weightlifting.
I just hope I don't go the same way.
Oh yeah. All right.
I mean, as long,
Harambe.
I guess I just need to stay out of Puerto Rico, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. NXT, we are at the first NXT episode following the tumultuous, eventful WWE draft that took place on last night's SmackDown Live, the first live SmackDown of the new era. The roster split is upon us. 7 NXT people have been called up to the main roster, and we will talk about that in just a few minutes here.
Is that a big deal? Is it a big deal? A little. Kinda.
Some people are talking.
Yeah.
Anywho, we start off this week's episode with a video package talking about our 3 big matches tonight, and also talking about how it is several stars' final night on NXT.
I mean, it's a big deal.
So they're acknowledging things.
Right.
There are some sad goodbyes coming up. Perhaps some people treat the business right and go out on their backs. How about that, huh?
That's usually what happens
right.
on this show.
When
When you get called up, you lose your way to the top.
When you're leaving the territory,
Yep.
you do the job.
That's right.
All right. The second thing that happens on this episode is the lasers are still there. They're
Lasers.
still very bad. They're so much worse when it's not just the opening package and when they're doing something else and playing the theme music under it, and then that's the only thing you can hear because they're so high up in the mix.
I don't know whose call that was. I really want to know.
I want it to. I so badly want it to be Triple H. He just slides into the control room and is like, we should think about putting more lasers.
I don't know. It's got to be Hayes.
It's gotta be Hayes.
It's got to be Hayes, and no one disagreed. Lasers.
Sure, you know what you're doing.
Mike.
You're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You invented rock music or whatever.
Bad Street.
The third thing that happens is that we're getting right to it. A non-title match between Rhino and the NXT champion Samoan Joseph.
The Emperor.
The Emperor.
And this match, I was surprised at its length because it was really short. I mean, the way Rhino came in, he completely decimated a whole tag team match.
Yeah.
Which I have a joke for this. Are you ready?
Yes.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting Rhino.
Interrupting.
Gore! Gore! Gore!
That's very good.
Yeah, I worked on it all day.
Hopefully we are the first people to ever have been surprised by Rhino's length.
Mostly it's his girth, isn't
Yes.
it?
It's girthy.
Read the shoulders.
Yes.
Girth.
He is just squat and in charge. This is the first time I've ever noticed that Rhino's Titantron entrance has literal rhinos in it.
Yes, no,
Yeah,
it
they're
does.
just walking
Like a
around.
pack of rhinos.
What's great is that the rhinos aren't like doing anything. They're not like running into a jeep or anything. They're just like walking around, and then the guy comes up.
Rhinos aren't particularly bright.
You know what's intimidating is wildlife just existing.
I mean, a kind of.
You know, the rhino is the most docile animal in the savannah or
Well,
whatever.
it's intimidating. You look at it and it's intimidating. You look at the man beast and he too is intimidating.
Yes.
But he can also deliver. That's the thing. Intimidation's one thing, but when you get stuck in a corner, you got to be able to deliver. Rhino delivers, but he didn't really do it tonight.
Yeah, it was a briefly competitive match in that, Joe, they went at it like two big slabs of beef are wont
did.
to do.
Boy, that noise when they hit
Yeah.
just, oh man, that's
Just slapping it. Just,
oh my god.
just whap.
Oh.
And Rhino took brief control, but then he got caught in an STJO, and Samoan Joseph immediately, wisely, correctly, immediately upon hitting the STJO, he said, "I'm done effing around, cookie in a clutch."
That was it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
And
caught him.
and one of my favorite things about Samoan Joseph is his tendency to just get the most like condescending look of just like, I'm done with this. And
Yeah, no, he had that, and Rhino had his great facials when he kept going in for those shoulders,
Yeah.
those monstrous shoulders,
Yeah.
and it's just that slap, and Rhino goes, oh boy,
yeah.
do it again. Then he finally got him. I wanted him to let that moment sink in a little bit more. When he finally got Joe off of his feet, I wanted him to just go, "Who the man?"
Who better than Rhino?
Yeah, who? But wait, that's not right.
Yeah. No, that's,
He's not a canyon.
pretty sure that's right.
No.
Well, you don't want to put the rhino in the canyon. That's how Mufasa died.
Yeah, that's right.
Too soon. Yeah, I mean, it definitely Rhino coming back. Do you think Rhino's going to stick around?
It's really hard to say right now. It's hard to say if he's going to come back, if he's going to stay, or if this was a quick affirmation that Samoa Joe is the absolute top in NXT. I mean, this really cemented that the fact that no one can touch him right now. He calls himself the Emperor. He's walking around all high and mighty, and the problem is he's right. He's completely decimated a guy who, killed 4 people just moments ago.
Yeah.
He looks like an absolute force of nature. Yeah. So what are you going to do? Not a whole lot. I don't know who's going to challenge him next, but he better come a-packing, whoever it is. Mm-hmm. The only way to beat Samoa Joe right now is in his sleep with a baseball bat.
Come packing and work on your length are the two takeaways.
Come packing.
If Rhino just came back from this, it sends a very big message as far as the dominance of our dear beloved Lord and King and Savior Samoan Joseph, because it's Rhino, and he just I cannot remember off the top of my head an instance of Rhino tapping out to a submission hold.
Yeah, I can't either.
So that's some real stuff right there.
Yeah. The power of Joe, the submissive, submissive abilities.
Yes.
His ability to,
He's a submission specialist, one would say.
he's kind of an everything specialist. He
Sure.
can throw his weight around. He can strike. He can submit. He can slam. He's an all-around threat.
Yeah.
He's
can
as
do it all.
dangerous as you can possibly find.
He can do it all and has and will again.
Yeah, but against who? That's the question.
That is-
Against whom?
That is definitely the question. And maybe we'll start finding out next week or something.
Hopefully.
Backstage, Asuka was asked who she'd rather fight between Nia Jax and Bayley, because, of course, the main event tonight clearly has number 1 contender implications. Asuka said, "I'll fight Nia, I'll fight Bayley, I'll fight both." And then she gave the evil grin.
You know that's a bad lady when she says her preference in all of this is to fight 2 people instead of
She's
1.
like, put them both in a trench coat, I don't care.
That's right. Bailey on top, naturally.
Obviously, yeah.
Of course.
Although we saw later tonight, Bayley is very strong.
Yeah,
So
no,
she
very
might-
strong.
Dude, if you were in a chicken fight and Bayley walked towards you with Nia on her shoulders, you should just leave that whole party.
Really?
Oh God! Oh no! It's happening.
What? Is she a Terminator? I'm leaving.
Like another Krang situation.
Yes, absolutely.
Then we got a video package recapping the SmackDown Live on Tuesday night and the NXT superstars that were selected in the WWE draft. We got clips of reactions. We got clips of interviews with the called up wrestlers. If you haven't checked them out yet, go to WWE's Fan Nation YouTube page. They have all of these videos up there with reactions, live reactions, because everyone was in the Performance Center at NXT watching the draft live. Really cool stuff, really cool interviews with people getting emotional, just very heartwarming stuff from these people who've worked very hard and now they're, up at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And also you can check out withspandex.com because we did a roundup of those. So we put them all in one place. You don't even have to go to WWE's YouTube page.
Who are all the NXT drafts? Run down the list.
Okay, let's run down the list. The first draft from NXT was selected number 5 overall. The third Raw pick, the final pick of the first round, number 5 overall, selected before John Cena, selected before Roman Reigns, selected before Brock Lesnar, was former NXT champion Finn Balor. You can't say enough.
Can you say?
You can't say enough about what that says for Finn Balor and the fact that Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley, before selecting him, said, Raw has an eye toward the future, and we're selecting the biggest impact player from NXT because he's the future of the business.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's very difficult to put someone over more than that.
I think it's apt. It's one thing to say those things, but it's another to actually mean it. And I think that that's 100% fact.
Now,
they put him over in the right way.
Because the speculation has already begun. I mean, it began the instant that he was drafted. But it is worth noting that if you pay attention to the main roster, which, if you don't, that's cool too.
I don't
Hobo
really.
doesn't.
I just like NXT.
Yeah, Hobo.
Oh, look, a wrestling show.
Hobo has to come to the studio to be able to watch NXT, so he's not going to just sneak into a house to watch 3 hours of Raw.
God, no.
Yeah. Although
unless there's liquor.
Although after watching an entire episode of Raw in someone's house, I think that you get squatters' rights.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Squatters' rots, because you watched Raw.
Yeah.
Also, you do have the squatters' rots. You should see a doctor about that.
Can you smell it from there?
I was
squatting today.
Your friends have to tell you about squatters' rots.
No, I know.
That's I'm a good friend. I have the.
I gotta go get the cream.
The care and the capacity to tell you about it. Yes, get the salve.
Yeah.
Rub it all over your rot. Your squat rot.
Sorry.
Finn Balor was selected to Raw. AJ Styles was selected to SmackDown.
Yep.
The club of Anderson Gallows selected to Raw.
Ah, interesting.
So the club, as we know them as
the Boxcar Club.
Yes, the club, the non-adjective club,
the Sandwich Club.
Yes,
they need a new thing.
The device with which you lock your steering wheel.
The club.
Yeah. The club as we know it is no more, but perhaps this is paving the way to very shortly reveal another club.
Another club.
Boxcar Club.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the leader. I'm getting drafted.
You're definitely much louder than Finn Balor, so I think that he would just yield to you.
I think I'm louder in all ways.
Oh, Hobo, you're very loud. So
I know.
I'm just gonna go ahead and give you the leadership.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I was in Ireland, all of Ireland would be able to hear me.
Well, if you need me, I'll be over here working on me Lego.
Oh, you look good. Just stand there and look pretty.
And can I still work on me Lego?
Yeah, you can work on the Lego. Just do it standing up or squatting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next pick was the first NXT pick to get selected to SmackDown. They were referred to by Daniel Bryan, the new general manager, as the best tag team in NXT. American Alpha.
I think that's an apt statement.
Definitely an apt statement.
And the crowd went wild.
Yes.
I mean, it's no secret what these guys are capable of. The fantastic part is we got to see a match with them after this package,
That's right.
It was like, awesome.
Yes. The first woman from NXT drafted was Nia Jax. Yes! Queen Nia! Drafted to Raw!
Raw Nia.
Stephanie McMahon said of Nia Jax, "There's no woman quite like her," which is very true.
She's not like most girls.
Who only take what they're given. Nia Jax has, shy of winning the championship, which is a very tall order, and very few people get the chance to do that, has done literally everything there is to be done for her in NXT. I would say that's my opinion.
Well, she's kind of like Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
You know what
She's an
where
attraction.
else do you have to go?
She's an attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's pretty much beat everybody.
Yeah.
Almost.
And all she has to do now is move on to the main roster, where her look is going to be a tremendous asset and draw. Her size is going to be a tremendous asset and
I just
draw.
hope she doesn't become somebody's darned bodyguard.
That's okay at first.
I don't
think it's okay.
think so.
Because what if Charlotte, for example, with Dana Brooke, were to form a real 4 horsewomen, and they need an enforcer if you form a 4 horsewomen? I mean, look at where would Batista be if he had not started off as a bodyguard? Ditto Kevin Nash. I mean, obviously it didn't work out so well for Tamina.
Right.
But it's usually, I mean, I loved everything that her and Eva did together. I mean, I'm biased towards Eva Marie.
But she was more than a bodyguard in
Yes.
that situation.
Yes.
She was the anchor of that team.
I think that she could be an immediate impact player.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
That way we could get multiple storylines
Right.
going on, and that's my real desire.
I just think that she's so unique in all aspects that she's just, and based on what she's accomplished in NXT, she needs to be on the main roster now, and she's only going to benefit from, she's been wrestling all the same people for 2 years.
Yeah.
She needs to go up and be on the road every day and learn from the people who have been on the road every day doing it. And
It's
that's
got to be
how,
a transition. It's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard. I mean, we see what's going on with Apollo Crews right now.
Oh, yeah.
We saw where Tyler Breeze was for a long time before Breezango rescued him, and now they're amazing. So, I mean, there's often a difficult transition process, but I think it will be less difficult for Nia Jax. I also think it would be less difficult for American Alpha.
True.
Because, man, is anybody more ready for the main roster than those guys?
Well, what American Alpha has, you can't really lose. They have this ability that creates its own momentum.
Yeah.
It's not like they need something to push them. You put them in the ring, and they're going to tie somebody in a knot and really impress you doing it and show you so much charisma and energy. They create a wave of momentum for themselves, and they've done it in NXT, which is how they got to the championships and won the championships.
Yeah.
They just happened to lose them, but that's okay if they're moving on up.
To the east side?
To the east side! Deluxe apartment in the sky!
The last three NXT people who were drafted on the WWE Network after show, the Draft Central. They were all selected to SmackDown. Alexa Bliss called up.
That was a surprise for me.
It's true.
I did not see that coming.
I'm very happy for her. Another person, arguably, who's accomplished everything that she can accomplish at this point. I mean, she could have a feud with Asuka for the title, which would be fun. But I mean, why not?
No, I'm not saying why not,
right.
but it's sort of one of those. All the people watching AfterBuzz are saying they wanted more Bliss. They wanted Bliss actually pushed to the forefront in the women's division of NXT,
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
they're not going to get that wish. And I think that's going to just leave us wanting a little bit more.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to stop her from coming back and challenging for the title in the future.
No, that's very true.
Mojo Rawley was selected to SmackDown.
Where did Ryder go? Is Ryder at SmackDown?
He is.
That might shake out. Now we were kind of waiting to see if this was going to be a thing that transferred.
I think it's probably pretty likely that the Hype Bros will return
I'm
on
glad.
the main roster because they are a great team.
Yes.
They work so perfectly together. It's done nothing but improve Mojo. It's been done nothing but help him out. It's kept him on a little bit of a leash, but in a good way.
Absolutely.
In a good way.
He's a Labrador made man. So you need him on a leash, or else he'll just go and get his nose dirty.
All these picks, there's very strong arguments for why they make a lot of sense. And Mojo Rawley, what else is he going to do in NXT?
Nothing.
He's going to
Nothing.
Got to go to the main
Yeah.
roster. And they need bodies. So.
Especially a man of his size.
Yeah,
he's
he's
got
enormous.
size, so he can really make an impact on that main roster.
Him and No Way Jose are enormous men.
I really can't get the the real grasp on how big Jose is.
so
now
big.
I know how tall
Right,
Aries is. I've worked with him a bit. So I just sort of have to base it on that scale. And basing it on that, he's big.
Yeah,
Especially having him chase Aries tonight.
But he's not just a tall guy. He's like massive.
No, he's
thick.
meaty.
Yeah.
He's got some meat there.
That's right. And the final pick from NXT was Carmella, drafted to SmackDown.
That's where did Enzo and Cass end up?
Raw.
Okay,
Good,
so
good
she's
for,
gonna
good for both of them. I think it's absolutely the smart thing to do to keep them apart for a year, maybe, if that, or forever. Like,
Right. No, she was actually adamant about going out on her own when they separated, and I think this is a great continuation of that.
And she's gonna benefit from it.
Yes.
And she's definitely been distancing herself from just doing Enzo and Cass's shtick in recent months. So she's not just gonna be like Enzo and Cass light over on SmackDown.
Right.
And Enzo and Cass absolutely do not need Carmella right now because they are the hottest act in WWE right now, to the point where they are going on Raw and giving rub to John Cena, which is so crazy.
Hey.
Like, they're so white hot right now that the last thing that you are going to do with them is like, and Carmella, why not? Like, that just cuts
you
her
don't
legs off
necessarily
immediately.
need, and it also ran on
Right,
that.
right.
And they can give her the rub
Yes,
later on
yes.
and go, hey, everybody go watch her on
Absolutely.
SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, watch our girl.
Yeah. So those are the draft picks. Maybe we'll have more to talk about
Strong.
later on, but yeah, very strong, very, very happy for all of these individuals.
Congratulations.
They deserve.
You
They
guys have been
all
working
deserve
hard.
it. Yeah. Then we had American Alpha coming down to have a match. They were jumped from behind by the Authors of Pain, beaten down. Paul
Ain't
Ellering
that
comes out
something?
and applauds this, and he surveys the damage. The referees check on them. We come back from the break, and the Authors of Pain are in the ring. American Alpha finally recovers. They were beat down very badly. They clear the ring. Ellering orders them back on the attack, and then the referee rings the bell to finally start the match.
I really didn't think we were going to have a match.
I didn't
thought
either.
that was going to be it. I mean, you usually get jumped before a match. You go, hey, man, this ain't cool.
Right.
You lick your wounds, and you come back again the next time.
There's no shame in, you got sneak attack.
No,
Just take-
especially by those two giant whatever they are. They don't even have names.
That's right.
Graves just called them the one,
The one
and the
and the other guy.
tattooed
Yeah.
one.
They punished Gable for a long time. Big bear hug on him.
I was surprised to see that American Alpha actually got a little bit of offense in before the tables were turned. They drove in that ring and they were throwing hands and they were doing pretty good. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Because I figured their strength is in wrestling. It's not necessarily in hand-to-hand combat, so to speak.
Fisticuffs.
But hey, I guess when you're angry enough,
that's
you
right.
can just take them out.
Yeah. Hot tag to Jordan. American Alpha finally takes over. Gable gets the ankle lock. The one tries to pull the other one out of the ring,
Yeah.
and Jordan hits him with a massive tope.
Just flies.
Woo! And then Gable releases. He goes for his own baseball slide, but gets caught. Gets giant swung into the LED apron sign.
That sucks.
Jordan goes face first into the ring steps.
Sidestep.
Yeah, they roll Gable back in. They hit him with their finisher, which is rad. Very cool. I like it.
It's all right. Like, it's really close to just punching your partner in the face.
Right. I like it. It's a throwback to the old, just like everything else about the Authors of Pain.
Right.
It's a throw. It's a good, nice looking double team move that they put a lot of force behind.
Yeah. I mean, you can.
Yeah. And they get the pin. Authors
do.
of Pain get the big win. They had to beat them down before the match, but they got the win. What do you think about what this means for American Alpha and for the Authors going forward?
American Alpha had a great showing. I mean, just absolutely as impressive as
They're never going to give
been.
up.
No.
They got all the heart in the world.
And just watching both of them suplex these giant sons of bitches was really super impressive. I loved watching Gable hit that T-bone. I love watching a little man suplex who knows how to use his height to his advantage. That's what I do. I like watching that stuff. But it's just how it goes. They weren't fresh coming in. They ended up losing in the end, but it wasn't for a lack of effort. These guys 100% threw their weight behind it, and the Authors of Pain have obviously more weight to throw behind everything. One of the double teams that I thought was impressive by them is they popped Gable up, one caught Gable, and then the other one comes in and just like kiboshes him from behind. It was like a pancake. So he just drops.
Yeah.
It's rough. I mean, I don't know who's going to fight these guys next. But again, it's another situation. I hope they're packing too. I don't think it's gonna be the Revival. Revival doesn't want any part of that. I think they're comfortable in their catbirds. See.
Speaking of Revival, some woman named Kathy Kelly is backstage.
Oh, who's that?
I don't know. Some nobody.
Weird.
Yeah. She's backstage. She asks, what's next for the Revival? And the Revival suggests that maybe what's next for the Revival is a giant thank you letter from the authors of Pain. Because the Revival wore down American Alpha in their 2 out of 3 falls match. And they are they're the reason that the authors of Pain were able to beat American Alpha and send them out of town on a rail up to your stupid, high-paying job on the main roster. The Revival say they are the best tag team on this planet. They're the only 2-time champs in the history of the company. All true. And they say there's no team that can beat them. Maybe less than true. Because they go to have a celebratory clink of the championships. And they do a double take and the camera pans over. And we see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who say, you know what? There's a team that can beat you because it's us, and we did.
Oh,
and they say that, in fact, the only thing that they haven't done in the company is hold those belts.
Oh, boy.
And Johnny Gargano says, "Tick-tock, boys. Tick-tock." And then they leave. And Revival, thankfully, is able to clink the championships in a celebratory fashion, and they say that they love that sound, and they leave.
They're terrible. They're just so self-congratulatory, even if maybe it's true.
There are a couple of revive a-holes, if you ask me.
Yeah. I'm going to tell them you said that.
Oh. Whoops.
Yep.
Well, if they hear that, I'm going to have to dash and Dawson the other way.
Oh!
Yep. We're going to have the squatters rot after that.
That's right. I mean, they're going to put a mud hole in your butt.
As long as they walk it dry.
No, they're going
to put a mud hole in my butt. They're not going to stomp one. They're going to hold me down. They're going to take a mud hole in a bucket and pour it into my butt. Oh, please, Revival, no.
That's an old mafia technique.
That's right.
How they killed a bunch of guys. Pouring concrete in the dude's butt.
What's the name for that again when you pour a mud hole in someone's butt?
It's a
Spanish surprise.
I think that's it. Yeah, it's a Spanish surprise.
Oh, it's called the Save It for a Rainy Day.
Yeah. Gross.
You ever eat mud pies? I mean, today.
Not today.
Okay.
No.
Maybe later for dessert.
Yeah.
After Dead
Republican Pie is just down the street. So
mud pies?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so do you think? What do you think about Gargano and Ciampa's chances of actually taking those delicious sounding titles?
It's hard because they are also in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
So they might end up doing a really good job of destroying each other before they ever get the opportunity to get their hands on the Revival. And the Revival, I'm sure, are taking that into consideration. Let your opponents kill each other, and then you can just sort of clean up the pieces and claim an easy victory. Yep. It's a really tough spot to be both a team and singles competitors against each other. That's really hard. So I don't know how it's going to work out. But all I can say is Revival, heavy favorites. How can you expect them not to retain? It would make them look very weak if Ciampa and Gargano, after everything, were able to beat the Revival. I think Ciampa and Gargano are probably a couple of the best competitors, both in singles and as a tag team, that NXT has to offer at this current time. But I do not foresee them beating the Revival. Not like this.
Mm-hmm. Not like this.
Not like this.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. I feel like these teams are probably on a collision course for back to Brooklyn takeover. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get a nice multi-team title match.
It might be, because it might take multiple men to finally knock out the Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fourth team would be, unless you want to do 3 teams, but usually
do 3 teams.
Round it up to 4.
They usually do. Yeah, you don't see a lot of triple threat tag team matches.
Because they're messy.
I think, yeah. Is it because of the visual of like only having 3 corners?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, though it is easier to have a neutral corner.
Yeah.
So you can sort of pin a guy down and then, have your way with him, so to speak.
But then depending on where you're standing, that could be unfair to have
Right.
one vacant corner.
Right. And it just becomes, it's just, why not have 4?
Right.
And then it's actually literally dangerous because people can tag in and out. You got to be very careful about where you are in relation to everyone else.
Bailey was backstage preparing for her big match. The announcers know that she's also on a quest to become a 2-time champ. We get a Hideo Itami video package, as we heard his music earlier. He returns in 2 weeks.
2 weeks! And I know we've been waiting a really long time. It's
Been out for over a year.
It's been like a year and a half. I mean, it was...
Not quite a year and a half, because he was at Mania last year.
Right, it was at Mania.
And then he was injured, I think, a couple months later. So it's been just over a year.
I don't remember him doing much after Mania.
No, he didn't.
That was the thing.
Yeah, right after Mania.
Yeah, it was right after.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But he's going to be back, and he'll be climbing those ranks soon.
I hope he stays strong.
Who are you most looking forward to him going up against?
Well, Nakamura, kind of off the top of my head, because it's one of those things. If Itami left, and then Nakamura comes in and fills this vacancy of the top striker athlete, and I have to imagine Hideo's going to come in and go, no, this is my spot. You go back to whence you came.
That is a good point. There's going to be so many kicks if that match ever happens.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to just murder each
It's
other.
got to happen.
Yeah,
That's got to be one of those matches that builds. You got to build that match.
Maybe next year's WrestleMania or something.
Oh, that would be nice.
He returns in 2 weeks. We get a fourth match, which I wasn't expecting, because Austin Aries came out. I thought he was just going to cut a promo, but nope. Old Sparkle Butt's in action. He wrestles the debuting Patrick Clark. It's Patrick Clark's first televised NXT match.
Good for him.
Patrick Clark not really doing his character very much, but he did wear his amazing tights, which have an American Eagle on one leg, airbrushed, his face on the other leg, and the Capitol building across his butt.
Yes.
With the stars on the crotch.
Can you tell he's from Maryland?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's from America.
It's part of it. Okay, all right.
Sure. That's where the District of Columbia is.
Yes, that's the capital.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it was fast.
It was pretty quick.
Clark got a nice little arm lock reversal sequence in.
He showed his wrestling prowess.
He's very fluid in the ring there. He moves around great. It's easy to see why they wanted him and why they signed him.
Actually, he's like the first of that group to get on television.
Has Mandy Rose been on television yet? No.
No.
Yeah, he was the first then.
He's the first. Good for him.
Mata hasn't been on. Daria hasn't been on.
No, not on television. She's going
hasn't been on.
soon.
Bronson hasn't been on.
Oh.
They signed a whole bunch of those people.
They certainly
signed
did.
basically everyone but Georgia.
That's why they didn't do another season. Because it's been more than a year since the show.
Has it?
Yeah,
No.
Since they started recruiting for it. Yes.
Oh,
it's been more than a year.
Yeah. Wow. Time flies, man.
Certainly does.
Anyway, quick submission victory for Austin Aries with the last chancery. And then a very angry, a very irate Noe Jose hits the ringside area and he drives Austin off. He was swinging for the fences.
He certainly was. A Dominican sure can swing.
Yep, he came down like a heater and...
That's right.
Yep.
Just throwing that fastball right at Aries.
And throw that speedball by you and make you look like a fool.
Certainly.
Glory days. We also see Nia Jax preparing for her match, which is against Bayley, of course. And then we get our main event. Nia Jax versus Bayley 3.
Yep.
The triptych.
One more
trilogy.
time.
Yeah. It was tremendous.
Yeah. Okay.
It was three-tacular.
Freak-tacular?
Yeah. you could say that this match was on Threak.
Jesus.
I promised some nobody named Kathy Kelly that I would double down on the puns.
Oh, God. I knew there was a reason I should have kept you apart at the ESPYs.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So this match,
Let's get to the match.
real good match.
Yes.
Real good match. Boy, did Nia Jax just clubber the piss out of Bayley this whole match.
Use what brought you to the dance, so to speak.
Right.
Size.
Throw your weight around.
Absolutely. Throw her around.
She snugged it up. She snugged it up right proper.
Gosh. I mean, everything was really good in this match, but well, that
The hair toss.
Yeah,
the chest clothesline that she smacked her with,
just like Vader used to do.
But easily the most brutal thing that happened in the match. Just the grossest thing that happened in the match was that jackhammer.
Jackhammer that just came down so
gross.
hard. I don't think Bayley wanted to kick out after that. Because she was just laying there like, oh man, can I just... Oh, fine.
She was like that person in Aliens that was like, kill me.
Yes.
Yeah. Just bad. Tell the people why that jackhammer was such bad news.
So when you go for the jackhammer, you hold him like this, and you take this arm, which is holding the head, and you tuck it under and away, and then you fall on top. The way Nia did it, she started to drop her in front, and then kind of went over, like almost like a World's Strongest Slam, but also twisting to the side, and it ended up with Bayley kind of landing butt first, which caused a whip in the back of her head. Just kind of snap. Ooh, oh, and then you have Nia Jax's entire weight falling on you after a bad landing.
No fun.
There's no part of that that's cool. No. None of that is fun.
I for a while when I was training MMA, there were a couple times when I had a person heavier than me, if you can imagine that, laying on top of me with all his weight, and whoa, no.
You gotta get on those toes.
You just have so much trouble breathing. And,
Ryan Katz, who used to work here, I was at WWE, he was my first trainer, and he used to, when we were training, just sandbag, absolute sandbag, because he had a lot of amateur wrestling experience. So we just have to get him off of us, and it was next to impossible. Yeah. Just all his weight on you, and just his weight on his toes, pushing himself forward right into you. Yeah. Almost impossible.
Speaking of which, the finish came when Nia Jax went for the big leg drop, which has brought her so many victories in the past. Stops. Says, no, not like this.
She didn't want to get a victory. She wanted to get an execution.
That's right.
She
drags Bayley over to the corner, climbs up to the second rope, is going to go for a splash or a second rope leg drop.
Had to be a splash.
And Bayley jumps up, hits the Bayley to belly off of the second rope, which is where she can do it from. And then she goes for the pin, and Bayley puts herself up on her toes to give herself the extra leverage on that pin.
You got to.
Bayley's all about the amazing little touches and just so good, so wonderful at everything. And I know a lot of people are disappointed that Bayley didn't get drafted. She
could win the title again. She could be the first female ever to win the women's championship.
She's going to main event 2 Brooklyn SummerSlam weekend shows in a row. And she's going to be on the main roster right now. She's most valuable right at this moment. She's most valuable to NXT as a touring brand, NXT as a promotion, NXT as an idea. She is invaluable as the veteran locker room leader for the women. She's invaluable as the person that the next crop of women, which we already worked through the Alexa and Carmella crop of women, and now we have to move on to the Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Aaliyah crop of women, and Bayley's going to be the one that's going to have to help foster them along with Asuka. And be that torchbearer for a little while longer. It will happen. She'll go to the main roster. She'll feud with Sasha. It's going to be just as amazing as it was the first time around. But for now, she's staying. I'm fine with it.
As am I. Yes.
But you were saying about this trilogy, how this was the perfect match. Again, Nia leaving the company, going out on her back. This is the perfect end to the long arc between Bayley and...
Because Bayley finally got that win. Not once has she been able to get... or actually, once she was able to get...
But it was by the skin of her teeth, and she had to get the victory in a way that she's never gotten a victory before.
And the second, her loss that next match was as definitive. It put her on the shelf for a little while.
Because the second match proved that the first match was Nia losing by a fluke.
Yes.
Bayley having to come up with something that was not in her toolbox that she had to think of just out of desperation, and Nia wasn't prepared for it and just got caught and lost.
She's never been able to hit that Bayley to belly on Nia. Never. But because of
Nia's own hubris.
Yep. That's what happens. You miscalculate.
Pride goeth before the Bayley to belly.
She fell. Nia fell.
From grace.
Hard.
Yeah.
Hard. Mm-hmm. That's the win. So that's going to be that for a while. I mean, I'm sure these two will lock horns again up on the main roster, but for now, that's a nice story. I bet I can watch all three of those matches back to back, and they're going to all tell a great story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about this episode of NXT?
This episode of NXT was one of the best episodes I've seen in a while.
It's very good.
This was really a standout episode, kind of from start to finish.
Not wanting for anything, amazing action, storytelling, some very emotional goodbyes, and furthering the things that are still happening. Yeah. Samoa Joe's reign of terror, Austin Aries and No Way Jose's issues.
Life goes on.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got three people on their way out on this episode, and we had one person debut. So
yeah, I was very happy with this, especially after last week's only one match. Now we actually get like 4. Yeah. It's a full show.
Yeah,
it felt good.
Very full, very fast.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we get into some quick news and gossip before we head on?
Do it.
Oh, right on. Just on it.
On it, man.
So, I mean, there's a lot of gossip flying around. There's a lot of news.
Is there ever not?
No, there's never not.
There's
gossip.
never
People
a lack
are
of
just
gossip.
tied like a sewing circle.
Absolutely, wrestling especially.
But there is a little bit of news. Some reports have came out this past weekend. Obviously, both NXT and WWE main roster need a lot of talent. WWE said that their Raw roster was going to have an exclusive cruiserweight division. But
they did?
Yep. On Monday, they said Stephanie McMahon now announced Raw will have a cruiserweight division. It will be the exclusive home of the cruiserweights. And then, suspiciously, they did not draft a single cruiserweight onto Raw during Monday night.
Well.
So, the Cruiserweight Classic is airing right now as we tape this, the second episode.
We actually need to do a little recap of last week.
Yeah. So, are we going to do that here?
Yeah.
All right.
We need to.
Real quick.
Still in place. It's happening.
But some reports came out over the weekend that WWE has offered contracts to 11 or so of the Cruiserweight Classic competitors. 8 of them have reportedly already accepted, so there's a lot of talent coming in. I think probably some of them will go to NXT, but I think a lot of them are going to go straight to that main roster and go to the Cruiserweight division, because they've said there's going to be a Cruiserweight division.
Well, you can say one thing and never really follow through. That they've got to actually establish it and then kind of go, and here's the talent.
Right. But you have to have the talent to establish it.
Right.
I think that the Cruiserweight Classic Tournament weekly show is going to be how they're going to establish having the Cruiserweights. Because there is some speculation that the live finals of the Cruiserweight Classic is going to crown a new Cruiserweight champion.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that would be a good way of doing that. Now there's a belt. Yep. Now there's a thing that you can fight over for longer.
Not only is there a belt, but it's a belt that these 32 men have spent 10 weeks fighting over.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So last week we got Kota Ibushi. We got was it Brian Kendrick last week?
No,
he's this week.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not watching it.
Who knows what's happening? We're not watching it.
I liked Ibushi is Ibushi.
Right.
Like, you can't ever be too impressed with Ibushi.
Yeah.
But I thought Sean Maluta, who was the man facing him that night, actually did a really good job of showing what he had.
Yep.
And in spite of whatever little mistake he made on his dive out of the ring, which actually wasn't a mistake, because if you watch the footage, his foot catches Ibushi right in the mush, and then he falls on him. So what lost?
2 hits.
Seriously, instead of just one, he hit him twice. That's a win right there in my book.
For sure.
So he really shined, I thought.
Big debut for Ibushi. Obviously, he's one of the stars that they're pushing really heavily. He got the main event spot. We got Cedric Alexander.
Yes.
Having his debut match. Man, has anyone ever benefited more from losing 20 pounds than Cedric Alexander? Because holy Lord. I mean, like, not like he was bad before or anything.
No.
He looks like $1 million. It's clear that he's feeling way better with this new body and this new weight class.
Weight's a funny thing. It can weigh on you, and especially if you have a flying style like that, the weight does not help. It just doesn't. But if you're bigger and you need to be the guy to lift people, having the weight helps. So let me tell you.
That's true.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to worry about lifting very heavy people right now.
Right.
We got Grand Metalik versus Saez.
Yeah, size.
This match was a lot better than I was expecting, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I was pretty impressed with Size, considering he dropped the most weight of anyone in the tournament.
That's
and he
right.
broke out a lot of stuff I wasn't expecting to see from him.
Yeah, there was just some stuff I saw. I was kind of going, why? Like the shooting star to the outside.
Right.
What are you out of your mind? Knock it off. Metallic, I think, was a little rusty. I think going forward, he did get the win, so I think he's going to actually be a little bit better to watch on television going forward. And then we had Pateau and
Ho Loon.
Ho Loon. I like Pateau.
No, Arya Daivari.
No? Yes. Yes. Wait, no.
Yeah, Arya Daivari, the brother of Daivari.
Right, but he fought. Who did he fight?
Ho Loon.
Right, he fought Ho Loon. Who did Pateau fight? Because he was
Alexander.
What is it? Alexander? I couldn't even put it together. Yeah, I liked him, actually, as being different. He's not a flyer. I like the fact that they had a heavy.
Yeah.
You need guys who have different styles.
Arya Daivari sort of acted like just a brawling bruiser, too.
Well, he's just your classic type bad guy. I mean, he sort of works the same way his brother did.
Mm-hmm.
But he's able to use, because he's lighter, he goes to the top a bit more often. Yeah.
But yeah, solid first week for the Cruiserweight tournament. Honestly, like I'm thinking, like these first 4 weeks are going to be nice to introduce us to people, but things are really going to heat up in the second round.
Yeah,
because
I have to imagine
that's just that's where the rubber meets the road.
Right, you just got to be able to not spend all you've got at once. Now everybody comes into these types of situations going, oh, I got to make sure I look great out there. I got to make sure I do everything out there. If you do everything, you've got nothing left to give. Space it out. You know what I mean?
So don't get all your S in.
No.
Some of it.
No, don't blow your load too early. You gotta take time. Enjoy yourself. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Take that away from this episode.
Afternoon delight.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Got any final thoughts for people?
Thoughts.
Yeah.
People.
Thoughts. Thoughts and rots.
That's right.
Squatters rot.
Yes.
Where can people find you, my dear Hobo?
Well, you can find me on Twitter @TrueHobo and follow Jervis Cottonbelly while you're at it @GentlemanJervis. ProWrestlingTees.com is where you can find my shirts as well as Jervis's shirts. Go to NXTeam.Spreadshirt.com where you can buy shirts for all three of us, actually the entire NXT team.
Yep. Kathy Kelly.
Kathy Kelly,
whoever that is,
used to have shirts on there, but we have a couple of shirts that reference her.
Right.
And Mark, who's at Comic-Con.
Right.
He's, I'm sure, having a wonderful time.
Well, I thought that's who you meant when you said all three of us.
All three of us. Well, yes, all three of us, and then some.
Yes.
Because there's actually four.
Special guests. Yes.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah. And Fight TV.
And Fight TV. Watch Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I still have a belt. Look at it.
Congratulations.
It's shiny. You need to go to YouTube to really enjoy how shiny this belt is, because shine doesn't have a sound. But shine down does, if you like that sort of thing.
If you do, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. You can check out uprocks.com/sports. You can check out withspandex.com, which is the pro wrestling site for all of your pro wrestling needs. NXTeam.Spreadshirt.com for all of our shirts. Check out Mark B. Donica at Mark B. Donica on Twitter, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he'll be back next week. And so I took a week off last week. He took this week off. Hopefully you'll be here next week.
Well, I might take a vacation.
Yeah, maybe you're just going to take the week off.
I can.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
We'll see you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos,
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.